intellect and logic, so that we can now receive intuitive guided messages from Kryon without the filters that normally accompany a brain. The filters of survival, the filters of knowledge, the filters of logic. That brain we have is surrounded by that bubble of love, and through that bubble of love, we now allow that full body experience to receive the message from Kryon.
Greetings, dear ones. I am Kryon of Magnetic Service. In light of the answer to the question that has preceded this channeling and meditation, and in light of what was presented in the meditation, it is all metaphoric. The right time, the right place for what I am going to tell you now. It has to do with transformation of one thing to another. In the real world, the liver protects you. It takes the toxins and transforms them so that you can continue living. Your brain interprets energies, helps you to survive. And all of these things would be transformative organs, perhaps more. What is needed on this planet right now is transformative energy to go from something that is toxic to something that is love, something that is beautiful. I'm going to speak on that. I have another request for those who are just hearing this channel, perhaps, for the first time. There are 3 others that I wish you to listen to before this one. It will make far more sense to you, dear ones, if you do. They'll all be available for you to find. This is a series that I have started. And the series is working with the seeds of the Creator. And those seeds, as we have told you, are currently inside you. They came in with you, and they have been with you since you were born. This is all metaphoric. Those seeds aren't really seeds. They mean something else. What they are beautiful, core, divine concepts specifically designed to be planted when it's right. Did you get that? They represent concepts of core truth, you might say, given by the original star seeds, the benevolent ones, the ascended ones that are part of your DNA. This particular channel will not make sense unless you have heard at least the one before this. We invited you to realize that you have more than 23 chromosome pairs. You have 24. The 24th one has been hidden from you because it is seemingly invisible to 3-dimensionality. Like all things multidimensional, you cannot see them. One of the greatest, I would say, effects of your life is invisible. You cannot see it. Gravity. It's enormous. It affects everything you do. It affects walking from one place to another. Every person knows this. You can't see it. Even scientists have struggled to identify its structure. It's a multi-dimensional source. Gravity. There are many multi-dimensional things on this planet that you cannot see, but they are acknowledged. Another big one, magnetism. You cannot see it. But it is part of all that is, all the motors that you've ever designed. It's involved almost everywhere in your technology. It's invisible. You have a 24th pair of chromosomes. It's multidimensional. It's invisible. It represents that from the star seeds. And last week, we asked you to plant those seeds on this planet so humanity would start to realize, activate, and wake up to these truths. And why did I ask you to do that then? Because it's time. There has never been this particular energy on the earth. You might say this earth is pregnant with light, ready to birth light. And in the process, there must be a transformative energy that comes from the implantation of the 24th pair. Imagine for a moment that you have a seed that is planted that gives you the ability to understand a language. If that seed was not planted, if you didn't have that ability to understand the language, and then someone came along speaking that language, you wouldn't know it. But if you've had the implantation of the teaching of the language, you would understand them. That's what this is about. This fourth channeling of the month, that's what this is about. You must have planted the language instructor. You must understand that you have this 24th pair and that it starts to open up and blossom and have the light and understanding, where humanity itself may not understand the particulars or the spirituality, but they will certainly understand that they are now in a place they were not a few years ago. What's next is to plant the seeds of transformation, taking the language of the 24th pair, that is the core spiritual knowledge that infuses itself to humanity slowly. And then you start to filter that which is toxic. That which is toxic. Toxicity, dear ones, is the negativity, the energy of the past, the old history, war. It's toxic to humanity. All the other things, the non-appreciation of the earth, is toxic to humanity. And so you're going to, right now, visualize implanting seeds that you have had with you all along, which is just awakened due to the 24th pair activation from last week. And you awaken to starting to filter out, convert, transform thoughts, actions, ideas, concepts, which were part of your grandfather's world. And instead, they are starting to be replaced automatically with concepts that go beyond what anything ever thought that humanity would do. Erase war. Have a consensus of what they truly want on the planet. That they don't want that kind of thing that they've had. The divisions that are ruining lives. The divisions of ideas that create wars. Humanity will never be of one ilk, of one thought. There will always be some who want this and some who want that, but in general, you can count on humanity all raising its hands and saying, we know what we don't want. We don't want what we had. We don't want what our grandfathers saw and their grandfathers and mothers saw. We want the softness of love that we equate with the feminine. We want Mother Earth to be a mother to us, not a thing we walk on. We want Mother and Father Sky and Earth to mean something more to us than just words. We want the ideas and the elements of love, perhaps, to imbue themselves into our everyday lives so we look at people different and things different and ideas different, so there is more kindness. That's what you're doing. Dear ones, that doesn't simply come with the territory. That has to be worked with. You are planting the seeds right now of transformative energy so that humanity itself will start to filter out the toxins of the past. This is a new age, dear one. And that has nothing to do with religion. That is a new way of thinking about your own planet, about your own world, and starting to realize what is toxic for your mind and for your body that you will leave behind, because now you have the tools of understanding and filtering, and that will change everything. This whole series about planting the seeds that you had from birth, that you simply carried around waiting for the time, this whole series, I would love you to listen to more than one time. Because I'll say it again, right now for you, right now, is a time that has never occurred on this planet like this. Never. It's why you came, expecting it to be the way it is. And so it is.
And very slowly, very gently, bring those beautiful, profound energies of Kryon with you as you make this transition into your body to become more fully present. I invite you to open your eyes if you've had your eyes closed. And I know that there are so many of you who have been waiting to meet this next guest because of the connections that she can bring for you. Her name is JB Owen, and I want to make sure that she's there on the Zoom feed with us. JB, are you there?
Yeah, so delighted to be here.
Wonderful. Well, the reason why I am telling everyone that they are waiting to be connected with you because of all the amazing things you have to offer. JB Owen, she is a fearless female leader and highly successful entrepreneur. Having built businesses that span the globe, JB's true focus is actually on helping others. She is driven to empower individuals on their own personal journey to success. She's a world-class speaker, 17-time international best-selling author, and a powerful business owner.
17 times, folks. Her no-nonsense style has catapulted her into the areas of building worldwide brands, manufacturing award-winning products, publishing international bestsellers, exactly, and creating multiple platforms in the areas of health, wellness, personal growth, eco-conscious improvements. In conjunction with all that, her keen sense of business, JP, also brings fun, a lot of it, and fabulous feminine touches into everything she does. Here's what I love. She combines ferocity with femininity in her new and innovative business style.
Now, through her acclaimed brand, Ignite, JB helps people tell their unique stories and shows them how they can ignite their lives. Ignite is the leader in empowerment publishing, and JB's committed to igniting 1 billion lives. But wait, there's actually more. Hang on, I want to tell you about something that happened just recently. JB Owen was hand-selected to be knighted in Las Vegas last month under the humanitarian category for her service as a global leader working towards bettering the lives of others. Lady JB Bernadette Owen was given that title of lady because it relates to Lady of Merit for Entrepreneurship and Philanthropy. She was knighted by His Royal Highness Prince Rafael Anjuar Iviches, who is from the Royal Order of Constantine the Great and St. Helen.
One of the things that JB was recognized for was her passion and commitment to building schools in Indonesia with the classroom of hope. Wow. Well, let's just start with that. JB, welcome to the show.
Such a delight to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And I really lovingly appreciate the introduction. It's a beautiful blessings to be here.
Well, this is where we want to have you tell us The fact that you are finding people with stories and publishing them. We have so many people asking us, Monica Lee, I have a story to tell. How do I do it? And you are such a brilliant answer to their solution.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that so much. I've been really blessed to work with some of the most amazing people on the planet because they really have a story of transformation. What I realized a few years ago, before I was working so hard in the publishing industry, was that sometimes authors really don't get the benefits of telling their story because they're looking at that commercial side of it. And what I wanted to do was tell the transformational story that many of us have called an ignite moment. That moment that changes us and defines us and redefines us in a way that we didn't quite expect when it happened, but we realize there's this incredible silver lining. And so we are the leaders of empowerment publishing because we tell those hero journey stories.
And tell us how someone's story, in telling it, can actually help and heal someone else.
It's such a powerful process. You know, there are programs where you walk over burning coals to have transformation. You climb a mountain to have transformation. You jump out of a plane. And what we do is we help you tell your story. Because here's the thing. Everyone has a story. We all have walked a path to get to where we are. The thing is, there are moments in our story where we assign a meaning to it. For example, something happened to you when you were a child. You were told you weren't good enough, or you weren't smart enough, you weren't fast enough, you weren't skinny enough. And that meaning sort of stuck in your mind and defined you in a way that you led your life in a certain way. What we have found is later in life, you have what we call an ignite transformational moment. And that helps you awaken to the truth of what really happened to you. You see it from a new 360-degree viewpoint, and you're able to transform that situation into something that's going to empower you to go forward. We've seen many people who've taken their story and become advocates or started businesses or changed legislation because of an ignite moment that happened when they were a kid or somewhere along in their lives. Mm-hmm. The healing process comes when you realize that what you thought that ignite moment meant was really actually something else because it puts you on your divine path. And that is what makes Ignite and telling it your Ignite moment so powerful and profound for many people, is because many times their story is shameful or worrisome or they're embarrassed and they keep it hidden, and therefore they're not allowed to show up authentic. And when you can do business, relationships, connections with people as your authentic self, using your story to help them and help others, magic can unfold.
Why do you think people are attracted to hearing other people's stories?
It's a fascinating phenomenon. And in fact, we're just starting to do a movie called Ignite Humanity because we're asking the question, can stories heal the world? Yes, because what happens when you tell your story is you activate the sympathetic nervous system, which allows people to feel more compassion and feel more empathy and understand one another. I was recently on a plane to Miami and I sat beside a woman. She didn't talk to me for most of the flight, but at the end, she started asking me questions. And then I ended up asking her Ignite moment. The fascinating thing was if the plane crashed, I was going to do everything to save her because I knew her Ignite moment. I knew what really meant something to her. The truth is, if I wouldn't have heard her Ignite moment and the plane crashed, I probably would have just saved myself. And so the desire to understand another person, to really see them and hear them and acknowledge them and know maybe some of their pains and some of their trials allows us to connect in ways that we don't even realize. It's so subconscious, and yet it's so conscious and it's so collective. And that is really going to ignite humanity.
So by now you have seen and read so many Ignite stories. I would love if you can share with us just a couple of ones that stand out in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So we published over 700 Ignite moments to date, and we're obviously building our platform to create Ignite moments in film and create moments online. And so what we really do love is there's common themes amongst Ignite moments. For often we hear about cancer, we hear about suicide attempts, we hear about depression, we hear about sexual assault. These are common things amongst our society that often are the catalyst for an Ignite moment. But we also hear really precious things is when, people they conceive a child, or they climb Kilimanjaro, or they get on a plane not knowing where they're headed, and then they get off at an airport and they meet somebody who meets somebody who meets somebody who ends up being their husband. So there are so many unique Ignite moments. And I tell people all the time, they don't have to be, tragic or in a way dramatic. They just have to change your consciousness of what you thought about yourself or what you thought about reality into something where you go to that higher level and you understand that the universe has your back. This is really what you were meant to do. There's something out there supporting you. You have the power, you have the ability. And Ignite moments wake up the people, the awareness, the connection, the heart, mind, soul connection, so that people are more driven to do what they were divinely guided to do. Their Ignite moment was just the spark.
So your brand Ignite had to have had a birthplace.
That's where I was going. Well, I want to know about the JB story. Tell us your story.
Yes.
This didn't happen just like a flash. I mean, I'm sure it...
well, it could have.
It could have been an Ignite moment for her. I'm quite sure. You tell the story. I would like to know how did you get here?
Well, I've done a lot of reflection, obviously, and I've had multiple Ignite moments, and I've written 19 of them in our different books. But I will share, when I was about 12, I was really an odd kid. I liked to wear my hair in a mohawk and be funky and punky, and my father totally didn't like it. And I remember one time we were going to a friend of his house, and I showed up all gacked out in my punk rock look, and he said, you should put a bag on your head because it would be easier to go out in public with you if you had a bag on your head. And at 12 years old, I shrank down and got really hard. I was embarrassed. I felt humiliated. I felt unloved. And all of these things in my mind, I carried through my story. And for a long time, I lived that way until one day I had an Ignite transformation moment where I realized, that's really my dad's story. That's his stuff. That's his embarrassment. That's his limiting beliefs. And I need to pull that bag off my head and be the best person I could be, because God gave me these gifts, and it's up to me to go and design them in a way that will help others. Now, interestingly enough, I ended up having a more difficult Ignite moment where I was in a relationship with an abusive partner. And when I ended that relationship, I lived again very much shrouded, not wanting anyone to know the truth. And when I revealed to people that I had been in an abusive relationship, so many other people showed up and said, me too, that's happened to me too. How can I help? You're so courageous. How did you get out of it? And I found that in sharing my story, I actually was able to be the real me, because I'd been hiding for so long in shame. And sharing that moment healed me, transformed me, allowed me to speak up and become an advocate. And so I thank my father actually for telling me to put a bag on my head, because it made me stronger, and it made me work harder, and it made me realize that every single person on the planet deserves to be seen and heard and acknowledged, and that their Ignite moment matters, and that their story is powerful. And so he was the catalyst that helped me be who I am today, publish all these books, support people, now making a movie. And that girl with the bag on her head just got knighted as Lady JB. So it all unfolds magically the way it's supposed to be.
You're going to make a movie.
Yes.
Wow. And give us a peek. What's going to be special?
Well, the thing is, there are these times when you have an Ignite moment, and do you decide to be a hero in your life or a villain? It's just like when somebody cuts you off on the highway. Do you honk behind them and go after them and chase them? Or you decide no, I'm okay. I'm just going to let that person pass. We all have tough moments that come into our lives. And it's that moment, that pinnacle moment where we decide, am I going to let this define me? Or I'm going to let this refine me. And I think it's in the refining of it that so many people have overcome adversity and decided that I'm going to do something better for my life despite that happening. And that's part of what the movie is about. What is that pinnacle decision? You grew up in the ghetto. Did you become a gangster, or did you become a preacher? What was the catalyst that created that? What was the thing that allowed you to make a decision, an Ignite choice about how you're going to live your life?
I'm also wanting to know about the schools in Indonesia, because children and animals, my heart just goes, ooh. So I loved hearing about the classroom of hope. Tell us more about that.
Of course, as a publishing house, we're very connected to literacy, and there are so many kids that aren't having the ability to understand what's possible in their lives. because they're not able to read or write or be educated or read the books that are really going to inspire them. And so as an advocate of igniting possibilities in people, it was really important for us to put our stake in the sand and say, we're going to help build schools. And of course, Indonesia is in need of schools. We've seen pictures of kids out, sitting in the dirt under a tree, shade, no classrooms, no blackboards, no books, no desks. And we thought we really want to make a difference. And so Classroom of Hope is a great non-carbon footprint because they use recycled blocks made from plastic out of landfills. They build these incredible schools. And we know that kids are going to go to that school, ignite possibilities in their life, and then go out and ignite humanity. So really, it's a ripple effect that we're creating.
How did you learn about that? Where did that come to you?
It's so beautiful because it's all serendipitous, right? And of course, like your listeners, it's not a coincidence that you're here. Like there's somebody here who needs to write their story and they need to hear what I'm going to say about it and how their Ignite moment matters. I had the same experience. I was doing some research. I'm like, I want to build a school. How do I help kids? And of course, it was like the first thing that showed up when we did some research. And I saw a video that they did about building schools. Fascinatingly enough, they give the kids bicycles and uniforms and school supplies on the day that they open the school. And when I saw the elation on those kids' faces, I was like, okay, I'm all over that. I'm being a part of that. So all the proceeds of all of our online sales goes towards building our schools.
Awesome.
I absolutely love that. Now, I'm also aware that your brand, Ignite, and telling the stories, it actually comes in different categories. So do you want to just tell us about some of the different categories that you have the stories fold into? Because there are so many. And that's the brilliance behind what you've created, is that you have those different categories.
Absolutely. Well, we've been very blessed to do Ignite Health and Wellness, Ignite Parenting, Ignite Female Leadership, great books. We've also been blessed to work with industry leaders. Les Brown and I did a book together, Ignite the Hunger in You. Wow. I'm currently working with Ryan Serhant and Elena Cardone doing Ignite Success for real estate agents. We just launched Ignite Wisdom, which just happened last month. We went bestseller in 7 countries. We're just starting Ignite Forgiveness, which is an incredible book. And we have what we call the Virtue Series. So we have Ignite Your Courage, Ignite Creativity, Ignite Your Purpose, Ignite Your Faith, all coming up in the next this year. And our big book that we're so excited about, obviously, is Ignite Humanity. And we're aiming, I didn't tell you this, to set a Guinness Book of World Records for the largest compilation book of Ignite moments.
Oh my
goodness. That is awesome.
You're going to have to come back when you get that happening.
Guinness Book of Records.
Talk some more. Monica and I had a precious magical moment in Nepal a couple of years back when we met His Holiness. Now, I'm only saying that is because
India, northern
India. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I forget places, and I don't forget him.
That's all right.
But
I'm your brain.
The reason why is because something's coming for you.
Yeah, well, we just got the green light for the Dalai Lama to be a part of our Ignite Humanity project. And I have to say, I'm just so touched, because who emulates igniting humanity more than the Dalai Lama? And at 87 years old, I am so excited to find out what his Ignite moment is and know that his moment can probably and will obviously inspire millions of people's lives. And so our goal is to have 7 billion Ignite moments shared, because I believe from the man on the street to the man in the Taj Mahal, their Ignite moment is the same. It's the perseverance, it's the dedication, it's the human journey, it's the experience of this human condition and our awareness and our consciousness. They all are on an equal playing level. It's not about money, it's not about color of skin, it's not about gender. It's about the ability to share in a way that your fellow human can connect to you differently than they did before, and obviously differently than what's happening in the meta universe or what's happening in social media. We want to create this authentic connection between people. And that's why Ignite moments have become so precious and so important. And every time I mention it, people are like, oh, I have an Ignite moment and I want to share. And oh, yes, I know I've got an Ignite moment. And so it's become infectious.
I think this is a perfect segue then to let our listeners know who are burning to share their story with you that there's a website dedicated for that, and it's igniteyou.life. So that's a little bit different to the normal websites you hear. Igniteyou.life. And it's IGNITEYOU.life. So JB, talk people through when they go to that website, just kind of guide them through what's next for them.
Yeah, absolutely. At the top of the website, it'll say books to come, and you can see all of the upcoming books in the Ignite series. You just click on the one that most resonates with you. And I tell people, follow your heart, because what you think you should write about and what you're meant to write about often are two different things. And so the intellect gets parked and you go for the heart-centeredness. So what is the story that I need to share? Because if you have a story and you have a calling to tell it and something inside of you is like, I need to write, it's because someone out in the world is begging to hear your story. Your story is the answer to their problem. Your story is the medicine that they need to heal. And so when you go to the website, you find the book that is most relevant to you, your Ignite moment, and you can just click apply. You can fill out a little information and our team will reach out to you. And then I always make myself available. JB Owen, I'm the only one on Facebook. And of course, you can find me on Instagram. Just reach out to me. And I promise you, I will let you know how I can support you in telling your story.
That's wonderful. So I want to mention too your role as a virtual mentor. So talk us through that process.
Yeah, well, I had a coach who was charging me $1,000 if I didn't send him my gratitude list every day. And of course, guess who was doing their gratitude list every day so they didn't have to pay the fine. But what it did was it taught me the practice of meditating, focusing, and being grateful. And what I realized was every day that I created that practice, I was actually manifesting more in my life. And so our virtual mentor program is me texting you every day with what's possible. Because now more than ever, we need to be thinking about what's possible in our lives. We don't need to be stuck back with what's going on with COVID. We need to be imagining what's possible for ourselves, for our community, for humanity. And so every day I send you a text and to inspire you to make what's possible in your life. And I'm giving that as a gift, I believe, to all of your listeners.
Well, that's an awesome, awesome gift.
I was wondering, because of COVID, now it's a couple of years old, I was wondering if there have been many Ignite moments from that experience.
Well, I will say yes. And interestingly enough, COVID allowed many people the freedom to write. So we were very, very busy. We were blessed. We did 12 books in 12 months. We were busy helping people tell their Ignite moment. So many people were more reflective. I will say that I asked people to go a little bit deeper than letting COVID be the thing, because COVID was just an end result for many people of something a little bit deeper. So we do have some COVID stories, but the truth is a lot of people had more deeper, more heart-centered connections in what they wanted to do and how they wanted to move the needle in their life. And COVID was just sort of the trigger.
You know, going back to, again, you dropped a fact. You have written in your books many of your own Ignite moments. Was it maybe 17, did you say? Something like that.
19.
19?
Yeah, I'm going on my 20th.
Whoa. Okay. Of those, can you point at one that what you would think is your favorite or most meaningful, or?
Yeah. So when COVID started, of course, they told us that we had to shelter in, and being a little bit of a rebel, I was like, I'm not going to stay home and shelter in. No way. And so I had just turned 50. I was 16 pounds overweight from sheltering in. And my husband and I decided that we would cycle our tandem bike across Canada to show people what is possible when you just decide to do something. You can get up off the couch and you can just do something. So we cycled 5,000 kilometers across Canada, all the way to the Parliament buildings on our tandem bike. And what I realized is you actually can create Ignite moments. So many of us talk about our Ignite moments from the past and what we learned from them. But as we evolve, we have the ability to bend reality